Okay, let's just look at this thing again this morning. I have a few minutes I can spend on this. It's interesting when I look at it through this camera, how much brighter things are than in the real painting. It's really exaggerated. But let me come into this thing and make some decisions about it. First thing I want to do is quieten that stuff down. Then I want to correct the valley relationship and the shape of these trees. I don't have the pressure today of the time pressure. Well, I have a bit but not like yesterday, and I don't have to be talking to you folks and so forth, answering questions. So I've got a little more relaxed approach to this morning. So first thing I want to do is, so I'm going to take my large legato, and I just want to quieten that guy down. So I'm just going to dip into my sap green just a bit. So sap green is a it's a transparent green, and that'll just take that down. So it's not in my face. I can think better without that being in my face. Get rid of some of that there. I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson as well, just a touch, and change it. Change that whole foreground, darken it down. Then I'll come back in and reshape it. So I want to focus on these trees. So I'm going to go with a phthalo blue. I'm going to stick some burnt sienna into it. Remember, blues and burnt sienna are one of the best ways to create a nice controllable dark. I'm going to darken this guy here and keep it in the cool side. Touch, 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 touch. There, drop that down there. Then I'm going to take some red. So I'm going to take some alizarin crimson and slightly warm these guys. So I want them different from this guy. I want them different. And I'm not going to really be careful with it because, again, I don't have a lot of time this morning. Got to get my wife to the doctor. Just change the shape. And notice what I'm doing here, right? I'm just banging it. I'm placing it. Just make that shape a little better. And make that shape a little better. Tie the darks together. I talked about that yesterday, of creating more one mass of dark with that. And then I'm going to take some of this and put it down in this corner. I don't want my viewer to escape the corners. I want the corners to be fairly dark and closed in. So I'm moving now in a different kind of a relationship. Let that dry. And then I'm going to come in. I'm going to put some stuff here. Now let that dry, and then come up here and shape these trees. Well, I'm going to use some burnt sienna to start with. We'll just touch it and then pull it away. Do different things in different spots. I'm going to go up against that dark and just leave a little bit of that dark remaining. So it creates a rocky type shape down there. See that effect that I'm getting there. Poor lighting on the camera there this morning, so I hope you guys can see it okay. Let me go to a warm green. I'm going to take some of my green gold, wet it a bit, add a little bit of the sienna to that. And I'm just creating a hodgepodge of shape and value in this. And I want this guy to open up. I talked about that yesterday. Hannah, you had a question about that, about getting that really bright guy. Why was it important to get that bright guy that I glazed down out of the way early on? Well, it is. This is where, if I'm going to have bright, this is where I want it to be. I'm going to grab some yellow ochre. Now, what I do, it's got to be dried for this kind of layering. But just try it. Now I'm starting to build a little bit at a time. Notice what I'm doing. And break it up a bit. Okay, now I want to come in there. I want to open that up with a happier sort of a green back there. I don't know if this is it or not. Maybe. Still got this great big honking brush. I should be changing it by now, but just leave it for the moment. So I want kind of a brighter, I'm gonna add a little white to that. So just decisions as I go along, right? I'm developing as I go along. I don't know exactly what I want until I try it. It's acrylic, and so I have no hesitation to try something and then see if I'm happy with it or not. I mean, those strokes look stupid, but I'm going to leave them for the moment and put some over there, spread this around a bit. Let's try something. So this is very hard for you guys because I'm just trying stuff, right? And so how do you learn this? You just have to say, this is what I want, and move to a point where you're happy to try it and just see what happens. Like I am slowly building something here, and I'm happier with it than I was before. Am I going to be happy? I don't know until I'm finished. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry now. I'm going to come back to the trees. So I want to have some color now inside that dark tree, but I want it to stay in the dark family, right? So I just grabbed some phthalo green and pushing that in there. So I've got some color coming into that. Boy, on my camera, on my screen, that looked really loud. It's not. But I've never seen it be so exaggerated before. The colors. I'm going to take some of that green and put it down in my field there. So I want to warm these guys up. I want to move them back. So I'm going to stay in the green, like in the first tree, but I'm going to add a little yellow to it. Now, I can make this do all sorts of things with color just by putting little dabs on it, as long as it stays in the right value, right? So this should be these should be a little lighter than this and a little bluer. I'm going to grab some of that teal, and I'm just going to create spots. Too light. Let me grab some of that blue and add that to it. It's too light. Ooh, colors all over the place. Take some of the blue, break up those things that I had over here. Happier with that shape now. Okay, gotta let that dry. Add a little, I want to break up the line here, bring some grasses up onto the tree there a little bit. I'm going to take some, this is going to drive you nuts. Try this. Take some magenta. Just for fun, see what happens. Break it out. Create activity in the area in that corner. Do that, place thumb against it, break it up so it's not as big. There's just areas of light catching something. I don't mind that. So I'm going to put a little area of light there. So if I'm doing that, where the heck did that color come from? I'm gonna have to stick some of it up in the sky. Okay, I'm gonna go to the slightly smaller brush. I'm gonna go to the 1-inch brush and redefine what's back there. What am I going to use? I'm going to make that into a violet. I'm going to add more color to it. Doesn't have much punch. It's flat. So I'm taking a violet. Woo! Add more blue to that. That's about what I had. So I'm creating another layer of trees back in there. Notice what I'm doing here, right? With the brush, I'm drawing. I'm just drawing with the brush. Bang, 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 bang. Let's open that up a little further down into there. Okay, let that dry and see what I think. So I'm going to take some of that while that's drying and stick it down into here. Some of that blue, take it down here. It's a painting I'm making, right? It's a painting. I want it to be colorful, inventive, interesting. So you can paint it. Okay, so was that dry? I'm going to gamble on. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and put the light on top of it. Now it's going to look more rocky. It's going to have some of the sky blue onto it. And we could just have a little bushy thing down here. Why not? Okay, I want to take a second row of trees behind that. So I've gone from a warmer background tree in the violet, and now it's going to be a cooler one. So I'm going to ultramarine blue. So that's my blue with a white with a red bias. So it's going to still have some red in it, but nothing like the ones before. Get the value that I want right. And it's going to be fairly light. That's probably too light. So I've got to have value room in the bank that I can spend on the sky, right? I've got to have value left over for the sky. So I can't blow it all in this area here. Gotta have some left over. So I'm gambling that this is going to dry a little darker than it is. It may not be bad. I don't know till it dries, right? It's a crapshoot. Open those guys up. That's a weak looking shape there. I'm just trying. Come in with that guy. I mean, if this was a serious painting, I'd be spending more time. I'd be much more careful. But what I want to show you is sort of the freedom approach to this thing of taking a run at it and just trying stuff. It's acrylic. So I've got some of that blue up there. Let's stick it in the down here. A little bit of light hitting on the rocks down in there. Like the shape. Oh, gotta let that dry. So now I have the sky, which I am going to, I gotta dry this because I gotta get at it. My battery is going to dry or die on my camera as well. So I think I want it kind of a yellow along here, moving up to a green. So I'm going to start with the green up top. So I'm going to go to sap green. I'm going to stick some of the magenta in it, or the violet in it, and see what that does. Yeah, not bad, but there's none of it down here. So if I'm putting it up there, I got to bring some down. No, I didn't like that. Take some of the green that's already in my mixture and put it up there. I want this top of the sky darker. I want to create a moody feel. Moody blues. So put it in and try it. See what I think. Too dark, that's okay. So I'm shaping this tree now, abstracting a tree-ish feel for that. Okay, let that dry. I'm gonna take some of that magenta and stick it in here too. Just break this guy up. Just for fun. Okay, I don't need to let that dry. I do need to let this dry. I'm going to be shaping this, but I'm going to be working into that one. So let's grab our, what's fun? Green gold. I'm going to grab the green gold. Well, that's the transparent green that if you add white to it, makes a wonderful greeny yellow. Really nice greeny yellow. I'm sorry, but I don't have both cameras set up here today. I'm under a bit of pressure here for time. So that is much, so I'm going to use that for the water. That's duller. Use that for the water. Vary a little bit. And I've got to be a little more careful with my horizon line. I screwed that up yesterday. And I want to open this guy up a little bit to let the viewer in here. As a shape, not bad. It's too, I want to break it up this way. That's better. Happier with that. Might let a bit sneak through there. Ooh, way down. Shouldn't have done that. Don't like that thing. Okay. Oh, bang some white into that. I'm gonna stick a little bit of the magenta into that too. Just a bit. See what that gives us. That's pretty. Oh, I didn't change the island. Damn. Oh, I gotta come back to my blue green. Add a little magenta to it, make it kind of a gray. That. Sort of a dull, like it's gonna add some blue to that. So if you haven't realized it by now, a lot of what I do, it's based on fundamentals, but then the main thing is, do I like it? Do I like it? Does it add to an interesting painting? Does it make it fun? with a huge part of my decision making. But I don't know unless I try things and add some magenta into that. So it's a huge trial and error thing for me. Some things I'm happy with now, some things I'm not so happy with, but we'll see what happens here. The race to get this done before my battery finishes. Boy, is that ever come out on the camera to be a lot louder than I would have expected. So white, I'm going to add it to that green gold, touch more green gold coming into that. When I say a touch, I mean a touch, like there's not a lot there. Bring some of that into the water. Just play. I think I've lost my horizon line again. I don't think I'm level anymore. Okay, this should be drawing over here. That shape. Change the temperature of the sky a bit. We're adding some magenta over here to this corner. Wow. It's just getting busy, 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 busy. Take some burnt sienna. Burnt sienna can be fun in the sky. And again, I don't have a ton of time left here. So I'm just going to bang this guy in. So this is really hard for you folks, right? So I can feel very comfortable talking to you about the fundamentals of making a painting. But when it comes to actually painting, for you to follow my thought process, it's got to be really hard. Go for the big brush, make some bigger shapes up there. Take some yellow. Whoa. Have some fun in the sky. Make it moody. Boy. Just shapes. See if I like it when I'm done. Okay. That's all I got time for. So unfortunately, needs, what does it need? A little magenta. But that's gonna be a wrap. This is pretty hysterical. Well, that's it, folks. I guess I was in front of that thing a lot. So that's it. Gotta go. Oh, no, I should turn that on and look at that thing straight. Sorry. Uh, what's it doing here? No, sorry, I've lost my battery. So I will photograph that and send that to you. Got to put it in a frame, got to let it quieten down. I've gone into a lot more color, almost silliness with a lot of this. That's okay. I want you to see that. I want you to see, that there's no need for full control. And just learning how to let go can move you into a much more inventive approach to this thing. So hopefully that hopefully that was okay.